Hello and welcome back to Rock Cycle. Today we've got a bit of a different video for you, and that is looking at the 50 biggest rock stars of all time from the extremely reliable website famousbirthdays.com. So let's get into it. So first of all, it's actually 48 and not 50, but I'm going to call it top 50 because that's a much smoother YouTube title. So coming in last place at 48 is Alice Cooper. Now, he was definitely one of the most iconic and biggest rock stars of the 1980s and 70s, and yeah, he's still doing well for himself these days, but he's not as relevant, so I can understand him being low down. But I still say he's pretty big to be low down. So let's just go see who's above him. So we've got Bono as well, just above him. If he wasn't immortalised by his music career, he was immortalised by this clip.
He's not Bono.
I just thought because you're Irish and you care about...
So, who comes above these two iconic rock legends? Why, of course, Courtney Hadwin, the 15-year-old from The Voice. Clearly a bigger music star. So, just above her we have Remington Leith and Declan McKenna. Yeah, I don't know if they'd really make the top 50 biggest rock stars ever, but I guess fair enough. We then have James Bay, and in 41st place, Liam Gallagher of all people. The most iconic British rock star of the early noughties and 90s. Of course, he's the 41st highest. This is kind of the point I want to make with this video, how ridiculous this website is that you have some of the most iconic stars so low down and some fairly questionable rock stars so high up. I'm going to speed up a bit now, I feel like we might be taking a little too long. So above Liam Gallagher we have Tom Perry and Steve Tyler. Justifiable, yeah. Sting, Hozier. Wouldn't quite call Hozier a rock star really, but yeah, I guess so. Bruce Springsteen of all people, coming in at 36. He is arguably top 5 biggest of all time, and then with him we have Dave Grohl and Dan Reynolds. So Dan Reynolds isn't quite in their league, but he's certainly a fairly big rock star, if you can call Imagine Dragons rock really. Then you've got Dave Grohl at 36. He's been in Nevada, he's been in Foo Fighters, two of the biggest rock bands of all time, and that's what he gets. Beaten by Ashton Knight. Yeah, I do like a good bit of Water Park, so an alright band, a bit of fun. But above Bruce Springsteen and Dave Grohl is Insane. And Axl Rose, yeah, I think he deserves to be a bit higher, but he's fully justifiable on here. 29, Alex Turner, that's a bit of a surprise. Thought he'd be higher up. Arctic Monkeys have been doing insane this past decade. Now we have two more of the biggest of all time, Mick Jagger and Billy Joel. I don't think there's a person who live, or at least in the Western Hemisphere of the world, who doesn't know who Mick Jagger is. He's one of the most iconic rock stars of all time, but he doesn't even make the top half of this. So let's see who could possibly be bigger than him. Well, I've got John Mayer, no idea who he is, and the girl from Evanescence. Yeah, a decent band, but are they bigger than Mick Jagger? We now have Matt Healy and Tina Turner. I think those two are some of the most accurate and at the right place on this list for them. Maybe Tina Turner deserves to be higher. She certainly was very iconic back in the day and headlined Glastonbury this year, I'm pretty sure. But I do feel she has become a bit less relevant. And Matt Healy's someone I would expect to be higher up, because as you'll see from this list, the kind of bands that have that stan culture around them get very high up in here. And that I feel the 1975 have that quite a bit. So we now have Alex from All Time Low. Yeah, decent band, but does it make him the 22nd biggest of all time? I think that's a bit doubtful. And Ronnie Radke, which is I think how you say it, but I'm not sure. And I cannot believe the amount of Twitter beef there has been tonight with him just before recording this. It's taken up my entire Twitter feed. I used to like the band, but he's really a massive twat. So surprised he's got this high up, considering there's so much hate for him out there, because he does seem to be quite a horrible person. Now above that we've just got onto the top 20. We have John Bon Jovi, one of the biggest of all time. He should be top 5. Living on a Prayer is one of the most well-known songs I feel in this country and in a few others. They're so iconic, I'm surprised he's only made the top 20. And just above him is my personal favourite, Chester Bennington. Now I'm very surprised he's a bit this low down. I think he does deserved to be top 5 given what an influential and important rock star he was, so that one's a bit personal for me. But judging on some of the other rock stars and where they've come in this list, it's not the biggest surprise. So who beats those two big legends? Of course, Hayley Williams and Marilyn Manson. They're both decent artists, they're both fairly well known, have had a pretty good career. I don't know if they beat John Bon Jovi and Chester Bennington, but yeah, a bit justifiable at least. Compared to Yungblud coming in at 16. He's another one of those, he's alright. He's not 16th biggest rock star of all time, but you can even call him rock. He's a bit of a strange alternative genre. And above him with Elton John, who again wouldn't really be categorised as rock these days, but he certainly was in his peak was considered rock. But yeah, I think if he is considered a rock artist, he should be number 1 on this list, very arguably, but he's 15th. It's insane. Above that we have Billy Joe Armstrong, someone else who deserves to be really high up on here. And Patrick Stump, yeah, Fall Out Boy were a decent band, they did pretty well for themselves and are doing alright for themselves these days, but I feel he was never really a rock star personality. He never really had that persona, especially like on stage. He's not even the one that speaks, they get the bassist to speak for them. So he never really, to me, really felt like a rock star in that traditional sense. Of course, beating both of them, we have Vic from Pierce the Veil, that extremely well-known, iconic band. Yeah, they're alright, I do enjoy them, I like their music, but putting them above artists like Elton John and Chester, Dave Grohl, and so many more, that's just insane. Paul McCartney, number 11, he should be up there as well. He's another one that's ridiculously low down. So now I'm making the top 10. David Bowie and John Lennon both very deserving to be in there, and I do agree with those two. And as well, Kurt Cobain, he definitely belongs in there, but alongside those three is Kellin Quinn, which is off Sleeping of Sirens. Yes, they're a decent band, they're alright, but they're quite big in emo culture, and that's it. They're not the biggest rock band of all time, they're good, but Kellin Quinn's a bit lost putting around these other celebrities of their higher stature in the rock world. So at number 6 and 5 we have Gerard Way and Andy Biersack. You can see the emos love this website, and I don't really want to criticise too much because I kind of fit into that culture a little bit, embarrassingly, but Gerard Way is justifiable being high up, certainly not higher up than John Lennon and David Bowie, and Andy Biersack is just, another good band, but you can just see their stan culture loved so much they've put them on this website where you vote how high people are. They have voted them above John Lennon and David Bowie, and it's just not right. I just find it very unsettling and a bit weird. So above them we have Freddie Mercury, number 4. He's another one who could arguably number 1, and above him Tyler Joseph. Yes, 21 Pilots, decent band, they're doing pretty well for themselves. You can call them rock, they're certainly one of the recent bigger bands that do have big potential, but again, putting him above Freddie Mercury, that's not right, is it? So, and the number 1 and number 2 spot, number 2, Elvis Presley. I've said a few others on this list deserve to be number 1, but I feel Elvis is the one that does take the biscuit. He should be number 1, one of the most iconic and well-known rock stars of all time. Everyone will, I feel, knows his music or recognise it, and even if you don't, everybody knows his name. He is such an iconic legend that he deserves to be number 1. Really pioneered the way forward for a lot of these other artists. But beating him we have Brendan Urie, which I've coincidentally worn a Panic at the Disco t-shirt today, and I promise that was by coincidence. Yeah, he's decent. Panic have done pretty well for themselves. Well, they're just Brendan now, but he's keeping the name. But can you even call him a rock star anymore? I would question that, definitely. I feel that's a bit iffy. And even if I do, I think he certainly deserves to be on the list. But in the number 1 spot, when you look at the kind of acts and artists he's beat, that is insane. So that was the top 50. I know this is a bit of a strange video, and I know that is a highly unreliable website just done by fans voting. But I don't know, I wanted to chat about it. It sort of bugged me a bit how strange the list was, how iconic people like Dave Grohl so low down as well, with Alice Cooper coming in last just for the random emo bands to be taking up the top 10 or 20. It really shows the effect of stan culture that we have in music now. So, well, I hope you've enjoyed this list of the biggest rock stars of all time, which I'm going to dare call this, although I feel it's a bit iffy to do so. If you want to let me know what your top 5 are, I'll be quite interested to see in the comments below. I'll have a go at putting my own 5 down there, so let me know if you agree or disagree with that. If you want to like and subscribe as well, would be a great deal for me, I would really appreciate that. And I will see you in the next video.